Well, a fine good evening, everyone. This is Patricia, and I am traveling for history. I am in front of the General Wells house, and this is its historic marker, which I'm going to go ahead and read to you. And then I'm going to share some stories of bit of the history of this state historic marker and the house itself, and some fun stuff. Alrighty, so this side of the marker says General William Wells, 1837 to 1892. In 1861, William Wells joined the 1st Vermont Cavalry as a private and rose to the rank of Brevet Major General. Promoted more times than any other Vermonter during the American Civil War, he participated in over 70 cavalry battles and skirmishes. For quote-unquote conspicuous gallantry at Gettysburg, Wells was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. This French Second Empire mansion was built for General Wells in 1877 by A.B. Fisher from a drawing in G.B. Croft's Progressive American Architecture. After the Civil War, Wells was prominent in politics and business and was a partner in Wells, Richardson and Company of Burlington, makers of Payne Celery Compound. He married and had 2 children. Daughter Bertha married Dr. H.N. Jackson. So let's look at the other side. In fact, let me pan in for you. That's the best I can do. I do have photographs that will be on Instagram and my Traveling for History page on Facebook if you would like to take a closer look-see and read it for yourself. This is the other side of the marker. Oops. Alrighty. Dr. H. Nelson Jackson, 1872-1955. Pan in for you. Maybe that will help. Maybe it won't. It probably won't, actually. But you can pan in and read it at your leisure, or like I said, follow me on Instagram or Traveling for History page on Facebook. And I'm Traveling for History on Instagram as well. Inspired by a bet, Dr. Horatio Nelson Jackson, son-in-law of General William Wells and a University of Vermont medical alumnus, Sewell K. Crocker, and Bud the dog set out in May of 1903 from San Francisco for New York City. In a Winton car, christened the Vermont, the trio completed their journey in 2 months and 9 days. They are credited with making the first cross-country trip in a motor car. Jackson became a successful businessman upon returning to Burlington, bank president, newspaper publisher, and owner of the first radio station in town. Despite his age, he joined the Army in World War I, earning the Distinguished Service Cross, and was one of the founders of the American Legion. He died at 82. And it says here, Vermont Division for Historic Preservation, 2005. All right, so let's talk about the house a little bit. Well, so let me walk to the front so you can get a better look at it. I do actually have 2 other videos on this house. Because, of course, it's known as the Wells-Jackson house, the 2 gentlemen I just read about to you. This house is in the French Second Empire. I do apologize for the noise. I'm in front of 158 South Willard Street in Burlington, Vermont, and I have to say that the noise is insane. So how did I come into the picture? That is state historic marker. So glad you asked. So when this was owned by a University of Vermont fraternity, Phi Gamma Delta, the state sent them a letter, I believe, saying that they wanted to install a state historic marker in front of their home. And in a panic, they contacted the brothers who had already graduated, and those brothers in turn contacted Preservation Burlington. At that time, I was president of that organization, and our executive director, Nancy Williams, called me and said, I got this email about this historic marker in front of the General Wells house and Dr. Jackson house, and they've asked for our help in navigating this. We should do this. oh yeah, let's do this. We'd never done that before, as far as I know. But that was my first foray into it anyway. But anyway, so during that time, it was the summertime, as I recall. The current fraternity brothers were not here in the summertime. So the brothers they had reached out to came, and they were fixing windows and painting things and sprucing the place up, as you can imagine. So they graciously gave us a tour, which was pretty amazing. They were hanging on the wall, on a nail on the wall, was the original leather. What do you call it? Well, the horse sleigh bells were attached, as I recall, to that to it, and it had belonged to the general. So it was just hanging there. I wonder if it's still there, because I just found out. I asked if this is a dormitory, and this is a Champlain College dormitory now. So, and then whilst we were upstairs in the bedroom level, there are 12 bedrooms here and 3 bathrooms. Probably more bathrooms now as a dormitory, but at the time we were here. 12 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. Nancy was wondering aloud where the general's quarters had been, his bedroom. And one of the fraternity men said, well, we always thought it was here. And he reached over to the wainscoting, opened up the wainscoting, and there was a urinal in the wall. A urinal in the wall. I'm seeing this in my mind's eye, and I'm just still blown away by this 16 years later. Holy cow, 16 years. Wow. That's insane. So, as I chuckle away for a moment, now, for the event of the installation of that state historic marker, and let's go back down to the marker for a couple of minutes. I was driving a minivan back then. Hasn't anyone driven a minivan at some point in their lives? Probably. Anyway, I was driving a minivan back then, and Nancy and I went down to, where is this in Vermont? It's where the Calvin Coolidge house is, which is a state historic site. And Plymouth? I think it's Plymouth, Vermont. But please correct me, because I'll probably be wrong about that. Anyway, it was in 2 parts. The base, which is this pole here, which fit very nicely under the seats, thankfully. And then the actual sign, which was, of course, detached from it, as I recall. It was 16 years, but I think that's correct. So, as president of the organization, I was sent the proof for this, and I wrote this side right here about Dr. Jackson, and I also wrote the part, I believe, where it says this French Second Empire, blah, blah, blah. Pretty sure I wrote that too. And I cannot remember the name of the gentleman who had written about General Wells. He'd written a lot more about General Wells. Most of the signage was all about General Wells. But I felt it was important to include Dr. Horatio Nelson Jackson as well, since he was the first to cross the U.S. in an automobile. He was famous in his own right, received the Distinguished Service Cross, as we just said. So, newer historic markers actually have initials down in the corner, and those initials correspond to the person who wrote the blurb. Alas, 2005 did not have that, so this is my record of what I accomplished here. So for the event itself, besides the dedication of the state historic marker, they were having a visit from I think, was it a niece? I think it was a niece who was coming and who was going to share some stories about the house, which I understand was very good. Unfortunately, I wasn't present for that, but it was lovely. What I did, the little bit I did here, was really amazing. Now, I just also want to mention this structure in the way back. This that building right there. That was built in about 1915. It is an Adirondack-style gazebo structure. One day, the frat brothers were back there, and this guy approached them out of the blue, out of nowhere. Just walked on their property and said, "Hey, I'll give you $30,000 for that this building right here. What do you say?" He said, "I'll pick it up, I'll take it down, and you won't have to do anything." The brothers are looking at each other, and they said, "Well, we'll think about it. Just give us your name and number, and we'll let you know." They figured if someone offered them $30,000 out of the blue, it was probably worth more than that, and they were right. So it was worth a lot more than that. I can't recall the number off the top of my head, but substantially more than $30,000. I'm so glad to see it's still here, in fact. An Adirondack style was made from these tree branches. You can see it's made of tree branches and wood, and it's very rustic looking. That's the point of Adirondack style. And it was a turn of the 20th century style that preferred by the wealthy. And this house was built in 1877, just so you know. So Dr. Jackson probably had it installed on the property. All right. So I think those are all the stories I have to tell you. I do have a couple of videos on the history of this house. About to create a third one. I've gotten a lot of mileage out of this house today. So, but it's a beautiful, beautiful house. 7,010 square feet, and huge, absolutely huge. But it was a beaut in its day, wasn't it? My gosh. Nifty thing about a mansard roof, by the way. Might as well share that because I can. And it's staying right here. And why not? The house is built in the French Second Empire, just so you know, in case you don't know that. If you're thinking it looks sort of like the house from Psycho, ding, 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 French Second Empire. Wow, motorcycles are so loud. So, I don't know, can you see the transom window? That's the window above the front door. Look at that beautiful design. I can't, it's already, what's the word I'm looking for? Zoomed in as much as I can possibly zoom it in. But can you see that? Oh, it's sort of. If you pause the video and enlarge it, you'll see it better. Yeah, gorgeous front door. So a mansard roof. This is the style roof it has, which is right here and here. Mansard roof. What I love about that is that it gives livable, workable space underneath the roof. So why is that important? So it gives that fabulous space for people to live under or work under. And the tax man back in the day taxed the floors that people lived and worked on, except for the basement and the attic. And the mansard roof, which was designed by a French architect, Monsieur Mansard, made it possible to have attic space that was usable, and I believe it was built for servants' quarters. Anyway, so if you're enjoying my content, I would ask that you subscribe to my channel. And then when you click on the notification bell, you'll be notified each and every time I upload a video to YouTube, which is every single day as of December 25, 2021. So, anyway, I hope you will join me. And until we meet again, you have a great day. Bye.